my first guest today has been described as the premier voice in Hollywood. You might not recognize his face, but you know his voice.
Takes Ahoy to make ice cream-inspired cookies, mint chocolate chip, and other new ice cream flavors. Coming to a television near you for the first time this summer.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe. Could have had a V8.
Please welcome, direct from Hollywood, voice actor and announcer Bill Ratner. Hello. It is so good to finally meet you because I've been hearing you for years, and those of us in Mass have been hearing you for years. How did you come to this business? It's not one of those things where people say, when I grow up, I'm going to...
I always wanted to say the name Deborah Duncan. I was born
I can see that.
saying,
I can see
It's
that.
Great Day Houston starring
Deborah Duncan.
Deborah Duncan, yes.
Yeah. How did this come into your life as a career?
I was 5 years old. I was watching television in Des Moines, Iowa. And my dad was in advertising, and so I was aware of broadcast and print and so on. And I heard an announcer say, "This commercial message will be 60 seconds long." And I held my breath. 60 seconds. And a 1954 Oldsmobile sped across the screen, and I ran into my mom in the kitchen. I said, "Mom, I know what a minute is." And she said, "Well, 60 seconds. Oh, did you learn that in kindergarten?" "No, the man on TV said it."
You never really veered off of career choice-wise what you wanted to do?
I made the foolish choice of trying to be an actor and a stand-up comic for a very brief time. I had a great 8-minute set of comedy with about 4 jokes in it. So every 2 minutes, there'd be laughs.
It's like, go get drinks, come back for the next joke, right? Well, but in a way, you are an actor and you are a comedian.
Well, people in my business trying to give it some dignity will call it voice acting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be surprised, because they've heard you over and over. We saw some of the things that you've done, but V8, Bud Light, you've done all kinds of things. One of the other Hollywood gigs you did was for an ABC TV special called Heroes of Rock and Roll with Jeff Bridges.
That was my first job in Hollywood, USA. And Jeff Bridges was in the booth as the host of the show. It was a 2-hour special on ABC about rock stars. And he was doing his voiceovers, and the producer said, "Mr. Bridges, please, could you step out of the booth for a moment? We have the announcer." And he looks at me and steps aside, and I step in front of the mic and say my 5 syllables, "Elton John will be right back." And then I come out and sort of brush past him, and he looks at me and puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Hey, cool voice, man." So that was my celebrity moment, one of my rare celebrity moments.
Usually it's a solitary business, isn't it? You're in the booth by yourself. All right. The weirdest one you've ever gotten?
The weirdest one was to do a tag that the late, great Don LaFontaine had not done. He was the voice of every single movie trailer. In a world where time stops and men get into spaceships. That was the great Don LaFontaine. And he had been at CBS doing a promo. They forgot to have him say "tonight." And it was something about, the Houston police force or whatever it was about. And I came in and said, "Tonight, tonight, tonight." Trying to sound like Don, because he had such this deep voice. And I thought, well, it's going to sound great. I heard it in the air, and it was Don going, blah, 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 "the police force, blah, 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 tonight."
Oh, didn't quite match up there. Well, obviously you have lots of great stories to tell. Aside from being one of Hollywood's most distinguished voices, Bill is also an author. And when you have the premier voice in Hollywood, it makes sense to launch your new book with a Hollywood-style trailer.
Does your child or someone you know suffer from digital entertainment overload? Well, this is the solution for you. Parenting for the Digital Age, published by Familius Books.
This is funny. All right. Okay. How did you come into doing this book? Because we hear this a lot, where a lot of times it's the techie toys that are raising our children. And there is so much that our children are exposed to. Before we just kind of walk out and play in the street and make up your own games, now we follow a script.
Well, I have kids. And very proudly in the beginning of my career, I'd bring home a DVD of a TV cartoon or commercial. "Look what Daddy did today." And then I found, as the years went on, that my daughters were spending more and more and more time watching their iPads, watching the DVR, on and on and on. And at first I thought it was cute. And then I realized, wait a minute, is their reading ability slowing down? How's their math? And so my wife and I had to sort of punt and decide, what do we do? There's no textbook for how do you control modern digital media in children.
Yeah.
And we had a babysitting co-op of 4 other families, and so we were dealing with lots of kids on Saturday nights. And suddenly they started bringing game platforms and cell phones. And all of us got together and said, you know what, let's just ban them. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Let them play. We'll watch a video. And
we have more ways to communicate today and entertain today than ever before, yet
yeah.
we are probably more disconnected today than ever before.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I mean, I'm not a Luddite. I love my digital phone and my iPad, et cetera, and so do my daughters. But I think that they benefited from our placing controls on time. It's not so much the nature of the device or the nature of being on the internet. It's how much time do you spend. And, you know, adults know that as well, that where do those 3 hours go? It's 1 in the morning. I was checking my Facebook. And for kids, it's a little more serious because they have only so many hours to learn to read, learn to relate to each other, their brothers and sisters. There's a writer I quote in my book who talks about an ancient technology, such as speaking, looking each other in the eye, saying hello, saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Whereas the new technology of this...
Texting. I'm not even going to talk to you. We're going to text you. Yeah. But as a result, you created a program for the Los Angeles Unified School District, and it's that TV cartoon scandals media awareness for children.
Right. I am the voice of Flint on the TV cartoon G.I. Joe, which started a long time ago. And when G.I. Joe and Transformers hit the airwaves, the Toys R Us and every other toy store in America was suddenly full of Transformer and G.I. Joe toys.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, that's what we do.
That's marketing, yep.
And kids want toys and so on, except the advertising had changed. The rules had changed at the FCC so that action figures were allowed to be advertised inside kids' shows. And suddenly just massive amounts of marketing was being done. So I thought, you know, I should probably level the playing field and go and talk to 9-year-olds about what a television commercial is, why it's there. It's a fun industry to work in, but it's also there to sell you things.
Yeah.
And you and your mom and dad can sit around and look at television in a different way and go, that commercial's kind of silly. That commercial's selling me something I want. That one's selling me something we don't need. So it's.
But that commercial is why you're on the air.
Exactly right. I was confronted at CBS Television Network. A guy hands me my script and he goes, by the way, we're about to pay you to tell people to watch television. Are you the one who doesn't let your kids watch TV? That's why we watch videos at home.
Yeah.
An interview was done with Steve Jobs of Apple Computer before he died. I said, boy, your house must be an amazing place to be. And he said, we don't allow digital technology in our house. I said, wait a minute, you invented it. He said, well, I know what it can do to a family and to kids.
And I think a lot of us, you know, as parents, that is the deal. It becomes amazingly convenient when you can send them off to another room, but you have to stop and think, that digital device has stolen time away from you and your child. And not to say you can't do it, but limiting it. And that's really what you're saying in your book, is understand the importance of real communicating and kind of moderation, like we do everything else in moderation.
Right, exactly. Is to know that television shows are repurposed for the internet and kids can sit there for hours and hours and hours. And to let kids have fun, and if they want to chill out on the internet, that's great. But just to limit it and to know when and how and where and why.
Yeah. All right. Again, Bill Ratner's new book, Parenting for the Digital Age, is available on Amazon. If you would like the link to order a book, just go to greatdayhouston.com. Hey, today on Facebook, if you had a professional announcer to bring you up on stage, what would your opening line be?
Excuse me. He managed one of the most successful artists in today's music industry. So what does he have to say to you? Star-studded advice you won't want to miss when we come back.